today's meeting? If so, please identify yourself by pressing the raise your hand icon, or if you're on the phone, pressing *9, and we will recognize you, and you can state your name for the record.
I don't see anybody yet. I think we're good.
All right. Statement concerning remote participation in response to Governor Baker's executive orders concerning the necessity to conduct public meetings in line with social distancing guidelines during the current state of emergency involving the COVID-19 pandemic. All Port Council members are participating remotely in today's meeting because their physical attendances today would be unreasonably difficult. All Port Council members are participating in the meeting by Zoom conferencing app, and all members will be clearly audible to each other. As a result of the members' remote participation in the meeting, any and all votes taken by members today will be by roll call vote. All right. So, first item on the agenda is minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Which, is this both sets or the first set? How we want to handle? How do you want to handle that?
Both.
I was just approving June 3rd. I mean, assuming that.
Okay. So for June 3rd, is there a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
All right, roll call vote.
Falco, aye.
Haas, aye.
Lowell, aye.
Unier, aye.
Shufelt, aye.
Washburn, aye. Nice job, guys. We're getting the hang of this.
Yeah, I don't want to jump ahead of the chair on that.
We're getting the alphabet. You get that.
Yeah, we do. All right, approval of the minutes for the August 5th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, roll call vote.
Falco, aye.
Haas, aye.
Lowell, aye.
Munir abstain. I wasn't in attendance that day.
Shufelt, aye.
And Washburn will also abstain. Is there there's enough to pass, right?
Correct.
Yeah, we're good. Thank you.
All right, Bob?
Okay. Good morning. First on the agenda. Next on the agenda is update on COVID-19. So last we met, there's some COVID-19 measures we've undertaken. We received our order for 6 electrostatic sprayers along with a supply of hospital-grade disinfectant to be used by the machines, and they have been used daily since their arrival. The sprayers are in addition to backpack foggers that we had obtained earlier in July and have been using daily since receiving them. The foggers dispense a disinfectant along with a prolonged antimicrobial agent, which provides longer protection on the on the surfaces. Our crews continue to do an exceptional job of cleaning the vessel interiors during and between trips. We continue to assign additional crews to perform deeper cleaning each night. Terminal employees likewise have been doing an exceptional job of cleaning, as has our bus operations, where we've been, we continue to clean those buses on a very regular basis every 4 hours of operation. Beginning August 9th, so last we met was August 5th, so beginning August 9th, we ended up operating the originally approved scheduled trips on the Nantucket route for the vehicle ferries, and also the approved scheduled trips on the Vineyard route, and that included 5 vessels operating weekdays and 4 vessels operating on weekends. The lone exception that we had to the approved operating schedule for August 9th through Labor Day was the MB INO schedule, in which we only ran 4 trips a day, weekdays, and then on Fridays and Sundays we operated a 5th trip. It was originally scheduled to run 5 trips during the summertime. We only ran 4 for 5 of the 7 days. These services ended up being modified beginning August 30th as a result of a need to have over 40 crew members tested because of possible exposure to COVID-19. We did get crew members back, negative results, which is a good thing. So we were able to bring service levels back up, not quite to the full complement, but close to it. Starting today, September 9th, the approved late summer operating schedule is beginning to be run. So we have vessel movements going on where we're sending the Martha's Vineyard to Fairhaven for its repair period. We have the Katama coming out to operate on the Vineyard run. The Gayhead will be coming off the run and going to its repair period. And the motor vessel Nantucket will be taking the place of the Martha's Vineyard on the Vineyard run. So we'll have 4 vessels operating on the Vineyard route through the schedule goes through Columbus Day, October 19th, I think, or the 20th. And then on the Nantucket route, we have the Eagle, the Woods Hole, and the Sankaty operating along with the INO.
5 days a week on the Sankaty, Bob.
Yes, Monday through Friday.
Just for everyone's, understanding.
Okay, so earlier we had informed everyone that we had reduced our capacity to 50% of the rating on our buses. Even though our buses, the DOT approved rating for those buses is such that it allows for standees on some of these models. So in some cases, the 50% is more than what the seating capacity is on the buses, but we're following that practice of limiting it to 50%. We did end up reducing, earlier in the year, we had reduced the capacity of the INO. As we went along in the summer, we realized that with increased number of passengers, people getting out of their vehicles off the freight deck because of the heat and humidity that's on the freight decks in some cases, we ended up reducing the capacity on the other vessels as well, anywhere from 40% to 60% of its COI. And in some cases, there was different capacities based on whether they were good weather days or bad weather days, because obviously with bad weather days, people tend to go inside. So we had to look at reductions there. We continue our efforts to obtain cleaning materials, whether it's disinfectant, whether it's Purell, hand sanitizers, and the like. We continue through agreement with our concessionaire to keep the onboard lunch counters closed. We continue to put information, best practices regarding health measures on our internal learning management system for our employees. Still there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We continue to provide our crew members before the beginning of each of their watches with a wellness screening by a trained medical professional. Shoreside personnel are given a wellness questionnaire that they need to complete prior to each shift and provide it to their supervisor to be given clearance to work. We do have, we obtained non-contact thermal readers, which we have deployed to 13 locations at this point. And we will, later this week, we'll be adding that as part of the regiment for shoreside personnel, that they'll walk up to it. It takes a temperature reading. It does a facial recognition and tells them, Bob, you're okay to go to work. And here's your temperature. If the temperature exceeds the threshold that those machines are set at, which is based on the CDC guidance, there's an alert that goes out to the supervisor, and procedures are in place to have secondary equipment available to double check, but we will be erring on the side of caution that if we have those instances that, we don't want people coming in that are sick. So. In that regard, if we do have instances where employees have called and they said, they're not sure whether it's allergies, seasonal allergies, or the like, and they're told to stay out because we don't want the chance of anything going to crew members or to our customers. So. Face coverings and mask wearing compliance continues to be a challenge. We have signs posted everywhere, electronic message boards at Woods Hole and Hyannis. We make announcements at the terminals. We have the vessels making announcements multiple times while en route, but it still is a challenge. Whether people, when they board, have their mask on and then drop the mask. So it's an ongoing battle, it seems. But in terms of conversations I've been having with other ferry operators, not only on the Cape but in the region, it's a common thing that all ferry operators are dealing with because the size of the vessels, people tend to think that it's safer to be able to not don the mask. And so there are, it's just an ongoing challenge. So, since Governor Baker's order back in July about requiring out-of-state visitors to self-quarantine or to have a negative COVID test within 72 hours of arriving in state, we've been sending out emails to all of our customers for a couple days in advance of their arrival, advising them of the, to go to the state's website and to check that information out. We did a blast for the entire month, and then as we go along, we do it a couple days in advance of any on-island travel. So, and to make Sean happy, as a reminder, we have a dedicated landing page on our website for coronavirus updates at steamshipauthority.com/2019 coronavirus. And we ask our customers to be checking that page for updates, as well as our Facebook and Twitter pages, as well as our e-news, which we'll have an update on later on here regarding any updates. So with that, Mark has a couple.
Bob, I got two points. Did we hit capacity or the new capacity level? Did we have to tell any people not to get on the boats at all?
Yeah, we've had some instances. Back in August, there was some bad weather. Island Queen ended up canceling. It was a weekend. We had to close Oak Bluffs because of the weather. And there was a influx of people heading into Vineyard Haven. We did have the passenger cutoffs. I will say the crews did a great job in trying to keep as much social distance amongst the passengers. One of the captains made a kind of relaxed that requirement by additional 25 people because you had people that said that they would be standing outside anyways, but as it turns out, they may not have been as fully truthful as they were, so they end up being inside, not outside. So there's been a couple instances. The biggest one tends to be the freight boats because they have a small passenger area to begin with. So we limit that to, I think it's 25, let me double check here. Yeah, so for the governor, for instance, it's the number of vehicles, passengers in the vehicles plus 35 walk-ons, because there's only that, the bowling alley side of the vessel for seating area. So we have to limit that one. The other freight boats are 25 because of the limited seating capacity on the interior.
Second question is, I'm still hearing that on the shore side, in the boarding areas and off-boarding areas, that the steamship staff is not fully wearing their face masks. They have a lot of noses showing and things like that. Are we running any checks or anything on that?
Yeah, so the supervisors, the terminal managers, agents are supposed to be keeping track of that. I will say that when I've gone down to the terminals myself, probably because they see me coming, that we get compliance, but I can't be everywhere. But we do stress to the employees on a daily basis the importance of wearing a mask, wearing a face shield. In some cases, there's opportunities for, particularly with the warm weather that we had in July and August, that there's times where, they were able to be socially distanced from people and they could drop their masks for a period of time. But obviously, as the people are boarding the vessels and things like that, it's important for them to be wearing the mask. When people are check-in booths, we need them to be doing it there as well. And so again, it's a challenge not only with our customers, but in some regards with our own employees. So.
Thank you.
Hey, Bob, this is Rob. I'm curious about just updating on the experiences, with the crew with respect to the positive tests. You mentioned that the most recent occurrence where you had a bunch of folks tested and they all came out negative. Can you just update in general about the positive occurrences, positive tests, and what the status of that is?
Yeah, so obviously we can't deal with individuals, but in general, we were made aware that someone was concerned that they had been exposed to the virus. They were told to go get tested. The test results came back positive. We immediately started to identify who they worked with, when they last worked. We followed our own internal contact tracing, even though it's the Board of Health's duties in that regard. We feel it's important that we do that ourselves to try to identify as quickly as possible what measures we have to take. The other individuals had similarly worked a watch together, so they were done, and their results came back as positive. We did end up contacting the Barnstable County Board of Health and the Town of Barnstable Board of Health. They're extremely helpful, working with the Cape Cod Healthcare, the hospital, in arranging to have our people tested there. And we appreciate their assistance in that regard. We did have some that went to their, it sought testing at other sites based on where they lived. So the willingness of the crews to go get tested, part of it is that, they obviously want to know themselves whether they were possibly exposed. Part of this is that, early on, we were looking at trying to keep crews from switching from vessel to vessel. It's become more challenging here in the summertime with people taking vacation time, and the number of, some of these positions were tight on qualified individuals. There's the Coast Guard, I think they just opened up here in the last week or two, but prior to that, the Coast Guard was not doing promotional testing, so we couldn't have people going from ordinaries to ABs and the like. So we were challenged a little there in terms of it, but as we get here into the fall and in the winter time, we're going to be making more of an effort to make sure that people stay on a particular boat, so we limit any cross pollination, so to speak. between the crews.
Yeah. Do you have any sense of time between, one exposure and another? In other words, there's the notion that, 14 days is the amount of time you need to fully absolve yourself of an exposure, but that it generally occurs, within 5 days. And there's an argument that says, if you've got an exposure, you really shouldn't test for, say, 3 to 5 days, because you won't have a positive test until it's actually sort of taken hold. Any sense of that from these experiences that you've had?
Yeah, so that was actually one of the things that we were dealing with in trying to get the group testings done. I know whether Angela is, whether she's on the call, she's on it. She might have more to say regarding it, but in general, yes, there is a school of thought there about the need for people to wait a couple days before they're tested, because of it takes time for the virus to
Right.
I don't know, propagate or whatever.
Yeah.
Can I
Okay.
ask a question, Mr. Chairman? I have a quick question for Bob. Bob, I'm sure you're aware of the new test that's coming probably in October, the Abbott FAST test. Is that possibly going to be something that we can do ourselves? Is that the possibility for large operations like ours, where there's somebody that, say, we had a medical person that we hired privately to do that? Is there a way? Is that something that's going to happen or potentially going to happen?
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about, that $5 test.
I think as we move along, I think our expertise is not in the medical field, although I think Angela's been
I know, but
keeping up on this as much as possible, and she may have something to add there. But I think if it's something that we're going to end up doing, it'd be something that we'd be looking to have the medical team that we do have coming in now for the vessel crews to be doing it.
That's basically what I'm saying.
And Angela, I think, is muted, so.
There she goes.
Yeah, it's good morning, everyone. It's something we can definitely look into with our current physician that's utilizing our daily wellness screenings. But just with the full transparency that just in general, it can be often difficult to even obtain a test. And that's due largely because the Massachusetts laboratory has shut down as it is EEE season. So all those resources that were normally used to analyze COVID test results have been moved for EEE and West Nile. But absolutely, we're more than willing to look into every possible avenue of seeing, what else we could do as a company.
Right. Cool. I was just curious because it's been on the news. I looked it up online, and it's actually supposedly getting shipped out this month sometime to all the states and going to be available in October, supposedly. So that's all. I was just curious. Okay. Thank you.
So, Angela, I don't know whether you heard Mr. Munia's question earlier about, he was asking about the testing and different schools of thought in terms of waiting a couple days for test results and the like. So I don't know whether you have anything you could add to that.
Sure. So typically what the Board of Health likes to do in our most recent batch testing, when we tested several of our vessel employees, is it's best practices to wait about 5 days from the time you were exposed to a COVID patient. And that really allows for the most amount of volume to be present in your body. So when you are getting tested for COVID, it could actually be a positive result versus, testing 1 or 2 days after exposure. You may not get the most accurate testing results. So when we work closely with the Board of Health to do our batch testing, we're looking for that 5-day post-exposure before we arranged a testing date.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, any other questions on COVID-19?
I think Mark has a couple, he's worked hard on his graphs here, so.
All right.
Good results, good.
Oh, good.
Morning, everyone.
Morning, Mark.
Morning.
Morning.
Okay, the first graph is showing the reservation comparison of 2020 versus 2019 for the same time period. The solid shades are for the current week, and the pattern shades are from the previous week. As you can see, September is currently looking very strong. October is a little bit off compared to last year. And this is basically the same information in a different format. And on the far right of the table, you can see the percentages as compared to last year, as of September 6th. Okay, this is showing the daily net reservation activity for vehicle travel. Taking the amount of reservations we made versus the amount of cancellations for net activity for the day. This is the daily vehicle traffic for passenger vehicles, automobiles, passenger trucks under 20 feet, large trucks, and passengers. You can see the little dip at the end of the month in the passengers, and that's really reflecting the difference in Labor Day timing. And this is the net credit card activity daily of receipts, and I'll be putting something together, give a total receipts as well, because this only paints part of the picture. For the credit card receipts, we should be showing the cash receipts as well. And we are noticing a transition to more of the electronic payment. Any questions on the reservation activity?
All right.
Hey, Mark, this is Rob. Unfortunately, I'm looking at this on my phone, so the numbers and graphs are very small.
Okay.
Can you just give a sort of synopsis of what the main messages are?
Sure. We're seeing a trend of people booking closer to the vest. That's one thing. You're not seeing them book as far out. The other one is we're seeing the vehicles coming in roughly around where we're expecting them to be on the for budgeting, but we're still seeing softness in the passengers. You know, the passengers are somewhere around the 75% of where we were last year. And then September is a little different because with school starting later or being virtual, we haven't seen a really mass exodus as we have in the past.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's helpful.
I will point out that a couple weeks ago, I was asked to participate as a panelist for the Cape Cod reopening conference call. I forget the media availability. And, you know, not only there, but in other conversations I've had with other carriers, you know, the fact that our automobile numbers are where they're at is not industry norm. They tend to be a lot lower elsewhere. And passenger numbers is, you know, being 70 or 75% are still much better than a lot of other carriers are experiencing at this time. So I think it, you know, again, goes to testament to the region in general, you know, people wanting to go to the islands. So.
Mark, are you guys seeing or expecting a better than sort of what would otherwise be expected during COVID-19 in terms of parking because of, you know, folks staying on the island longer?
No, we're actually, that's down, and that's mirroring pretty closely to the passengers percentage, you know, as far as being off. Then looking briefly at August, you know, for the month of August, you know, we're looking at passengers, we're off about 25%. Automobiles were up 3%, and trucks were off about 3%. So the cars are backfilling in for some of the trucks where we didn't have the fair or the fireworks or any of that. Those trucks are being backfilled by cars. Tour buses are non-existent. So that's kind of being backfilled in.
Got it.
So just different type of travel patterns.
Sure.
So just out of curiosity, what is the explanation for the automobiles being strong and the passengers not as strong? Is that because of the automobiles are people who live on the vineyard, or what's the explanation for that?
Well, some of it, a lot of the softness of the passengers, and it correlates with the parking, is the walk-ons. People going over for the day trips, coming back, where people, whether it's different demographics, I mean, not demographics, but travel patterns, meaning they may be in their second home or working remotely more, now they're commuting more, or people feel safer in their vehicle as compared to being outside of the vehicle.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Well, people are moving to the vineyard year round now, so they're probably bringing over extra cars. But you know, we're seeing presumably a huge increase in kids registering for high schools and for grammar schools, and becoming a new thing that's called the second full-time residence, and we're seeing tons of that.
George, you might want to get those numbers. We got 20 total. I've heard anything from 1,000 to 800, but it's actually 20. So
well, we have in the schools, there's like 200 additional students.
200?
We're 200
Okay,
additional students were registered last week.
I'm just saying, you just make sure you get the real numbers for you.
Yep. Oh, we did. Yeah, the
That went
200.
around 1,000. We were building a new school. That's 20.
No.
20,
200.
just so you know.
Well, 200 is for all of the schools. That's all the schools on the island. So.
And that doesn't include the people who are telecommuting from the island to their off-island school as well.
That's correct.
Correct.
Yep.
No, I'm just going by the, registering number that was given out the other day. So.
Well, that's happening in all areas. You know, it's happening in Vermont as well. Where my daughter is. So.
Cape.
All right. On to the business summary.
Thought we were already on it.
We'll transition smoothly now. How's that?
I love it. I'm on the Athlethers report already. So.
So for the month of July, we saw a decrease in passengers of 28.7%. On the Vineyard, they were down 27.8%, and on Nantucket, passengers were down 32.1%. Automobiles for the Vineyard were up 1.2%. We saw an increase of 3.2% in the standard fare and a decrease of 8% in the excursion. On Nantucket, we saw a decrease both in the regular and the excursion, totaling 5.6 for automobiles for the month of July. Trucks for the month of July were off 3.9%. On the Vineyard route, it was off 3%, and most of that was primarily in the over 20-foot trucks. And on the Nantucket route, they were off 6.4%. And that was spread across the board. For parking, we saw the parking was off 39.5% for the month of July. That was 39.8% for the Falmouth lots and 38.3% on the Hyannis lots. Okay, for the month of July, operating revenues were $15,480,000, which represents a decrease of $2.2 million or 12.5% versus budget. Passenger revenues for the month were down $1.7 million versus budget, which represents a 33.2% decrease. Automobiles were up $36,000 or 0.5% versus budget. Freight revenues were down $108,000, 3.1% versus budget. And parking revenues for July were down $473,000 or 29%. During July, the vessels made a combined 2,509 trips. This represents a decrease of 257 trips or 9.3% versus budget. On the Vineyard route, no trips were canceled for mechanical or weather, and there were 138 trips for traffic demand. On the Nantucket route, there were 13 trips canceled for mechanical reasons, 0 for weather, and 56 for traffic demands. The IANO canceled 10 trips for mechanical, and all 56 of the traffic demand trips on the Nantucket route were attributable to the IANO. Total operating expenses for the month were $9,435,000, which was down $394,000 or 4% versus the projected amount in the 2020 budget. Maintenance expenses were up for the month $531,000 or 57%. And that's primarily due to the timing with the MV Katama that was delayed going into the dry dock this year. Vessel fuel expense was $570,000, was down $240,000 or 29.7% versus estimates. The actual cost per gallon in July was $1.52 versus the budgeted cost of $2.19. General administration expenses for the month were down $179,000 or 7.2%. The authority's net operating income for the month of July, including other income, was $5,987,387 or $1,965,000 lower than what was projected in the budget. And for year to date, we have a net operating loss of $14,205,000, which is higher by $12,249,000 than originally projected in the budget. And I'll be happy to take any questions.
How's our cash position? Do we have enough cash kicking around and credit lines to get through the rest of the year?
Cash is, right now we have cash position is better than what was expected earlier in the year. And at this, if traffic stays the way it is, don't anticipate having to use the credit line.
Oh, good.
So what's our, are we still looking at what, 20-something million?
Yeah, we haven't changed
loss
that.
for the year?
Yeah, we haven't changed that figure. And on the going back to George's question about the cash, we just funded the bond payments for the interest payment we just made in September, as well as the principal and interest that will be due in March. So we've already put that money away to make
Good.
sure we have for the bond payments as well.
Good.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks, Mark. All right, projects. Or no,
Okay.
no, results of, no, yeah, projects, sorry.
Projects. So just a couple quick updates here. So the Woods Hole Terminal Reconstruction Project is starting up full force starting today. The Ringer Barge, the Randy R, is, if it hasn't arrived in Woods Hole yet, it's on its way to Woods Hole. When it first arrives, they'll actually be going into slip 3. They need to remove the temporary catwalk, as well as a couple temporary piles that were needed to support the catwalk. And then they'll be done there, and then they'll be heading to the southern slip, which will be slip 1, to begin the work there. We expect demolition to begin. Shoreside, they'll be setting up the limit of work. The passenger gangways that's on the south side there will be demolished. The ramps will be taken to and stored at Gifford Street for if we have any need in the future for those. But they'll be working on the bulkhead. We'll need to. This season's project includes extending the bulkhead by nearly 100 feet to the south to connect it all. And it includes the southern pier, as well as close to 90 pilings that need to be driven of various sizes, including the 8-foot monopiles and down to what, 18-inch, 16-inch?
16-inch. So just to summarize Bob's thing, the southern pier is a little larger than the northern pier. So we got 38 16-inch piles to drive for that the fixed portion of that pier. Then there's another 7 30-inch piles for the floating portion of the pier. We have 38 18-inch piles, 24 18-inch piles for the head dolphins. So the head dolphins are going to be conventional in this slip because of the interference with stones underground when we probed. And then we're driving 10 monopiles. So we got a lot of foundation work to do this season. I'll take any questions if you folks have any.
And what's your target? I'm sorry.
Are the other two slips going to be usable while this is going on?
Yes.
Other than the next 3 days, by the end of the week, they'll be out of slip 3. And then after that, the other 2 slips are operational.
Okay.
The issue, there will be some, as they're driving the piles for the outer portion of the slip, the positioning of the barge will be that the vessels will need to take a, come in, go farther out to the west than they normally would be. But it should be a workable situation. So.
Okay.
What depth are you driving those piles to?
The monopiles are driving to minus 100. That's the goal. We're generally accepting anything between 85 and 100, depending on the test. But the 18-inch piles, they're down to like minus 40 feet in the 16s as well.
Thanks.
All right, any other questions for Bill?
Nope.
So the next part of that is the terminal building. And this is just a quick update. So as you may recall, this past fall, we had gone to both to the Port Council and to the board on the concept of what the terminal should look like. A one-story flat roof building, solar panels up above, passenger lobby to the north, restrooms to the south. And when we went to the board to request the funding to authorization to start the design schematic, the board requested a review of the BIA Studios billings, which was completed this past month. So at this point, we've gone back because of delays caused by that review, as well as because of the coronavirus. We've asked BIA Studios to go back and revisit the timelines on what needs to be done in terms of getting the design schematics completed, bid packages prepared, bidding done, so we can award the contract. We expect that update from them later this week or the beginning of next week. Actually, I think it's the beginning of next week. And so we'll be presenting that to the board for their approval later this month at their September meeting to authorize the design schematic of the approved concept. So just to fill everyone in on where we're at on that.
What does that mean, Bob, with respect to actually initiating construction?
Yeah, I think roughly we anticipate that we've lost a year in the project because of this. The goal had been to segue from the completion of the marine side to being able to start doing some of the shore side. The site needs to be raised and sloped out. There's a plaza that needs to be built, but we, in order to do that, you need to have the foundation portion of the building, in place before we can do that. So we feel we've at this point, we anticipate that we've lost a season in trying to get this done. So the building itself, we anticipate will take 2 off seasons to complete. Then at that point, we transition the personnel from the freight shed over to the temporary terminal building and use that as their basis of operations while we remove the freight shed and put in the new utility building, which will take another off season. So, and then following that, we'd be removing the temporary terminal building and finishing all the grading at the site.
So what year is that?
Yeah.
After Trump.
I was trying to add up all those off seasons.
Yeah, we're at least 3, if not 4. So
Post-COVID.
it's probably going to be somewhere around 2024, 2025.
Wow.
Unless there's a way to, the issue is that with the terminal building in the middle of the site, we're concerned about having any ongoing construction going on during the season. But if they're able to get to the point where they're able to button up the building and all work is being done inside the building, then that might be an opportunity to pick up some time by allowing them to continue to work inside the building during the on season.
All right, thanks.
Okay,
Any
so
questions on the terminal? Bob?
okay, so next thing we have on here is just a quick update. The Empikitema. So earlier we were showing you the previous meetings. We showed the dry dock portion of that project. The vessel was returned to our Fairhaven facility. We conducted our company sea trials along with the Coast Guard sea trials. The vessel got its certificate of inspection about a week ago, and today it's either let's see, I think it's it should be arriving in Woods Hole within the next hour or so to take its place. So that project is completed, and if there's any questions regarding it, Mark Anderson is here if you have any questions about what was done, but I'm told it came out nice.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, not hearing any questions there. We have the Oak Bluffs Pier status. So as you recall, back in the spring, we had discovered that there was an issue with the Oak Bluffs Pier in terms of number of pilings and caps that needed to be repaired in order to make that facility operational. Because of the timing of that, we did a minimum repair to allow us to at least take automobiles in and out of that facility. So we have the bid package out on the street now to complete that project. Since it was budgeted for this year, we're continuing, we want to get it done. And the bid packages are due this coming Tuesday, September 15th. So we expect that we'll be going to the board at the September meeting to hopefully award the contract. And then with the timeline being is that they'd start as soon as the day following the closing of that terminal, which I think is October 20th. And we would anticipate that they'd be able to get all the work done by the end of the year.
Good. That's then that'll be back up to its normal usage.
Normal rated capacity to be able to, we still won't be able to take the extremely large trucks off that out of that facility, but we'll be able to take what we've been able to take in the past years.
Okay.
While we're talking about pier repairs, it's not on it, but quickly just mention it anyways. We got bid proposals in yesterday to do emergency dredging over at our Nantucket facility. The face of the pier, there's some shoaling that's taken place. It's impacted our a couple of our trips. It's more of an impact to the barge operations that take place at that facility. So we'll be looking to apply now that we have bids in. We'll be able to apply for emergency permit from the Corps of Engineers to get that done. So, sorry, I thought that was going to be on the agenda. I missed that. So,
Hey, Bob, are there any permitting issues with that, or does that fall under a Chapter 191 license, or how does that work?
So there's a procedure in place to be able to perform emergency dredging if we can establish what the emergency is, which we've had discussions with the Corps of Engineers and DEP, and they agree with us. We applied to the state's DCAM, Division of Construction Management, and I forget what the other one is, asset management, and they agreed as well that it's the emergency nature of it. So we're limited on the number of yards of material that we can remove, and so we will have to come back with a full application for a Chapter 91 license to dredge. The maintenance portion of that license that we had expired years ago, so we have to go and get a new one.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Next one we have here is regarding the HMS recommendations, and specifically it's more about the SQMS. And actually, I think Angela, whether she can come in.
Okay.
Bringing Angela back in. She's the lead on this project, and part of it is that where we had it on hiatus because of COVID. Now that we've restarted it, had the summer season where all of our people were stretched to the max anyways, so it's really going to be more this fall and off season that we'll be dealing with it. So I know, Angela, if you have a couple quick things you can comment on, I left my notes up there.
Sure. So in October, we would like to commence the vessel operations manual portion of the SQMS. We'll be launching out a fleet of vessels. And part of that is comprised of an event reporting system that both shoreside and vessel side would utilize. So basically what that would entail is in case of a near miss or a passenger or an employee injury, it would all be reported using a software application and kind of streamlining tracking of the reporting process.
Great.
And then from there, we'll be segueing into more of the vessel portion of the contract as well. So, anyone have any questions regarding?
Nope. E-News.
E-News. I think that's Mr. Driscoll or Kimberly.
Now Angela can do it. She's been doing a great job so far.
Yeah.
So
On the fly. Sorry, Angela.
give me 1 second here. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here. 2 seconds.
You want me to slide
No,
over?
I'm just going to do it from here. See me anywhere. Sorry, give me 2 seconds here to share my screen. Okay, you can all see. Oh,
Yep.
okay, great. So Kimberly and myself just wanted to give a brief update on our e-news programs. We switched our software provider this spring. So just as background, back in 2010, Kimberly oversaw the launch of the first edition of our monthly e-news that was segmented by audience. We had 4 editions: Martha's Vineyard Residents, Martha's Vineyard Travelers, which was aimed at both visitors and commuters, and then Nantucket Residents and Nantucket Travelers. And the goals of that program when it was launched were to communicate news, obviously, in a timely manner, to increase our reservation bookings and revenue, to build brand loyalty, and to raise awareness of Steamship Authority programs. So the process for that was that each month the marketing department created a plain text version and an HTML version of the e-news in a program called Adobe Dreamweaver for each of those 4 segments. That was 8 separate editions that marketing created. And then those were sent to the MIS department, which then created test emails for approval, and then sent out all 8 of those final versions to customers who had signed up. So it was a very labor-intensive process involving multiple departments. In 2013, a redesigned website was launched, and the e-news sign-up page was created within that website to help build a subscriber base, which got us to about 4,000 traveler subscribers and over 2,400 island resident subscribers. And you can see here sort of the visual evolution of the e-news from where we started in 2010 to the most recent oldest, I guess, in 2018, there on the right-hand side. But in 2019, the communications and marketing department, we looked to accelerate and streamline that process. We were trying to eliminate the need for MIS to push out the e-news. Kurt Van Riper is the sole programmer in the department, and he was also the one who was the person who could push that out for us. And it was not a great use of his time, and we were also dependent on him to be in the building to be able to push out the e-news, which isn't a great scenario to have to rely on a single individual. We also wanted to be able to increase our open rates, our subscriber base, and customer engagement, and to be able to better track that as well. We wanted to better enhance public awareness of our programs and allow us for more flexibility for not only new editions, but for quicker turnaround in case we needed to put out an e-news edition suddenly mid-month. Our big challenge was finding the right platform that met our privacy and security requirements, which is how we ended up with a program called GovDelivery that's offered by a company called Granicus. We already use GovDelivery to push out our text alerts right now and email alerts for service issues. Their communication cloud platform is secure, and it's used exclusively by government agencies. So unlike programs like MailChimp, this is one that's used solely by governments. They only work with governments, so they're very familiar with the enhanced security that we require. And also they don't sell lists or try to sell advertising to our customers. It's a much more secure platform and not as ad driven. They've got a deep commitment to privacy, and they have a robust platform with built-in customizable design templates. We can better target our subscriptions and get deep analytics and reporting, as well as being able to reach people in a variety of ways. Also, it offers cross-promotion with other agencies. So when you sign up for, say, a newsletter from the Mass DOT, if they're in the GovDelivery platform, they can suggest, hey, you signed up for this newsletter, you might like to also sign up for the Steamship Authority as well, and vice versa. So it looks for people signing up for our newsletters that are similar to ours and suggests that as an offering to them. It's another way for us to help grow our subscriber base. So our e-news, our new e-news debuted in May 2020, a little bit behind schedule, but you may remember this spring had a little few things going on that slowed us down slightly. But here you can see a look at the 4 different editions that we currently are offering. And this has also allowed us to do some additional things as well. We've added the weekly Woods Hole Terminal project updates to this program as of this month. So last week was the first weekly update that went out through the e-news. That's going to allow us to include more photos and graphics and have a much more robust offering there. Also, people can subscribe to be notified about public meetings. So if they get notices about Port Council and board agendas and when packets are available, and also any other public meetings we might offer, such as a scheduled hearing and the like. And they can also sign up to be notified about press releases, only the good ones. But there is an offering there to get those as well. And it's very easy for us to include new updates, new offerings. The flexibility there is really fantastic. So since we started from May here through the end of August, our current subscriber base has been fairly flat at 8,592. We did add 115 new subscribers. We had 240 deletions, but the bulk of that was when we switched over to the new software. It automatically purged bad addresses that in the old method we weren't able to do easily. So that list cleanup is very typical to start off with. When we sent out our first newsletter and I saw how many people unsubscribed, I got very depressed, but our representative with GovDelivery told us that was normal and it was a one-time thing. So we've been fairly steady from then. So of those 8,500 subscribers, there's a total of 11,792 subscriptions, which is up 591, which is great. People are subscribing to more of the options that are available to them. We've sent out 52 bulletins so far, and our open rate is 25%, slightly below the government sector average of 28%, but around the, among all sectors, it's right at the, about 25% of e-newsletters get opened as a whole. So that's right on target. And our engagement rate is 66%, which includes bulletins that are either been opened or clicked on within the past 90 days. So it gives you a little bit of a further look back that statistic in terms of how people are subscribing, because the government newsletters, it's a little bit of a different animal than a pure promotional one in terms of click now for this sale. It's not always necessarily as time sensitive as that. So they give you a little bit of a further look. So just briefly, some next steps that we're doing as a department. We're continuing to assess and adjust our topics. We've already made one change. We had offered separately the option to sign up for either Port Council notices or board notices. And I realized that those two lists were almost exactly the same people. So we just combined that into one public meeting update list. And as I mentioned, we added the Woods Hole Terminal project emails as well. And we're getting ready to launch a promotional campaign. We're going to offer, as part of our package, we have the option for people to subscribe to the newsletters via text. We're going to put out some posters with QR codes so people can sign up very quickly if they see the poster in the terminal or on a boat. And also we're going to start some social media promotion as well. And just briefly, the two URLs for how to subscribe. You can still do so via the website, or there's the direct link as well. So happy to take any questions on any of that.
Have you thought about sending it out to the members of the Port Council and the authority?
I certainly can do that. I generally don't like to sign up people for things that they don't ask for, but I will take that as an invitation and sign you all up for your respective islands, and then you can add items as you wish to from there.
Well, that'll give us a chance to see what it looks like and everything.
Absolutely.
It also gives us an idea of what, people turn around and start asking me questions, and I'm saying, I don't know, right? I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
yeah, we'll take care of that this week.
Okay.
Okay, thanks very much.
Ed's saying something.
Oh, Ed is saying something, but he's muted.
Sorry, I was just wondering, is there a plan to use the Granicus platform for other things to help comms and that kind of thing?
Certainly can. I mean, this is, these are the first steps in terms of, being able to bring more control to our department as far as the ability to send out our customer communications and not have to rely on another department and another individual to do it. So, we're just getting started here, and it's certainly been a little bit of a slower process because of COVID-19, but we have, under our agreement, we have much capacity to add subscribers and offerings. So, we're definitely looking at other ways we can use this as well. And this is also, just so you're clear, this is separate from the text alerts and email alerts that go out as a service. If you're subscribed or if we have a service issue, that's still a separate sign up and a separate process from this. But we can certainly, there's a lot of different ways that we can use this. And I sort of foresee any of these little sub-mailing lists that pop up along the line, just rolling that into Granicus and GovDelivery to make it a more streamlined process.
All right. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
All right, the cost of service analysis.
So let Mark's deal with this. Just in case you're wondering, though, that earlier the report that we had provided you regarding the cost of service had, of course, been before RSM had completed the audit. So now that they've finished that a couple months ago, we had a chance to update this, and Mark has the results.
Okay. So looking at the cost of service, put it outside of the book, there's tab 5, which was included in the packet that went out. Basically summarizing some of the key points about how we allocate the cost of service and how much it costs to carry different types of vehicle. And then one thing to note on this report is that the direct costs are going to fluctuate from route to route depending on what the mix of the vessel dry docks each year. So for the service of 2019, Nantucket saw more of the direct costs associated with them due to the boats that were in dry dock. And then we'll see in 2020, it'll fluctuate a little bit back to the Vineyard, depending on which boats are in repair. Okay, so in the market, and we've been doing this is the 16th year we've been doing this report. The cost of vessels operation, the direct costs on the Vineyard route decreased by $398,000 at 1.2%. As mentioned earlier, this is really mainly due to the dry dock costs. The vessels that were dry dock last year mainly operated on the Nantucket line. Indirect non-vessel cost increased on the Vineyard route by $1.6 million, or 2.1%. This is you're looking at costs of depreciation and some benefit costs such as pension, health, and welfare that were up last year. Overall, the cost of service on the Vineyard route increased by $1,229,000 at 2% versus 2018. So looking at the car capacity increased by about 15,000 car equivalent units. Spaces occupied increased by 900 spaces versus 2018. The occupancy rate decreased from 80.5% to 79.1% for the whole year. The cost of a car equivalent unit was at $68.13, which was up 2.9% from the year before. On average, automobiles covered 79.1% of the cost of service, with standard cars covering 109% and excursion cars covering 29% of the cost. For trucks, on average, they cover 93.4% of the cost of service. And for the under 20-foot trucks, the standard fares cover 110% and the excursion fares cover 42%. For the Nantucket route, we saw operational costs increase by $2.9 million or 16.7%. And again, this is really directly driven to the increase in the dry dock expenses. In addition, there were some schedule changes from 2018 to 2019, where we saw some single crews on some of the freight boats going into 2 single crews in the shoulder seasons, and we had a change in the January through March schedule as well. We saw the indirect costs as well go up by $2.1 million, or 14.8%. Overall on the Nantucket route, The cost increased by $5,039,000 or 15.8% versus 2018. We provided over 7,000 more spaces than in 2018 with those schedule changes. Spaces occupied increased by just under 500 spaces. The occupancy rate decreased from 2018 from 85.2% to 82.8%. The estimated cost of a car equivalent unit was $157.10 versus $130.78 the year before. On average, automobiles covered 103.5% of their cost of service. Standard fares were 135.4% and excursion fares were 34.2%. Trucks covered on average on the Nantucket route 82.8%. Standard trucks under 20 feet cover 132% and excursion vehicles cover 42.4%. And how we come up with the cost of services, we take the direct and indirect costs associated with the vehicle ferries, back out the passengers and any driver services, and what's left there is how we allocate to the car equivalent units, or basically the capacity on the vessels and the vehicles that travel.
Mark, can I ask a question real quick? I'm sorry, Ed, through you, Ed. Yep. On the INO on the Nantucket route, I think I've asked you this before, but it was a pre-COVID question, so I don't even think it's fair to even ask, you know, for now, but next year, I guess. Do we have a way to sort of take the INO's cost and revenue, et cetera, and package it as one sort of separate item, and then how do we plug that into the Nantucket route as the, you know, as like, okay, how much is the INO, say, subsidizing X, or how does the INO revenue affect our route? You know what I mean? Like, I think you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can put something together for you on that. Because
that's important, Mark. You know what I mean? Like, and that fits into some of the questions I have for the later item, as far as like the Nantucket revenue, you know, other revenue stuff, and how it affects how we look at, you know, each route separately since 2004, when this all started. So thank you.
All right, any other questions for Mark?
Yes, Rob. It's always a fascinating analysis. I have two questions. One is the techniques you use in coming up with this car equivalent unit, is that sort of industry standard, or is that a steamship authority methodology? In other words, do other services use the same type of analyses?
Some other services we know of use lane meters or feet. And we book it to basically a semi is 4 car equivalent units. You know, how many cars would it break down to in that same footage, the same length on a vessel?
Gotcha. Okay. The other point was it's the occupancy rate. Obviously, is going to be, the analysis for this year is going to be extraordinarily interesting. Because of, you know, the situation that we've been in, and just what the occupancy rate will be. And I don't know if you have any premonition on what it would be, but obviously that sort of tells the story of, do we have too much capacity for the amount of you know, customers or not, and what you think that the occupancy rate might be under the circumstance that we're in right now.
So taking in general, the occupancy rate has pretty much remained pretty constant within percentage points. Would you agree with that, Bob?
Yeah.
And a lot of it is that we also have directional traffic, where generally on the last boat leaving the Vineyard, for example, you don't see a lot of people on that boat because of timing. And same, you know, on the Nantucket run as well, as a lot of the island residents want to get off the island early, then you'll see heavy traffic on the last boat going to the island, as compared to really it's almost deadheading back with minimal traffic at night on that last trip, for example. I think this year we'll see at certain times of the year, because Bob and the team did a good job of scaling the schedule to the demand, that at the tail end of, before we change the next schedule, we're really close, we're higher than that 80% at certain times when we went from 2 boats to 3 boats, when we added that next boat on. So we'll see a low percentage in the beginning when COVID first came in. And then when we saw our traffic numbers drop off because no one knew what to expect. And then you'll see more towards the middle and towards current, the higher percentages as we adapted to, the board gave Bob the flexibility of adapting the schedule to base demand.
Gotcha. So you're sort of thinking that the occupancy rate will not be significantly different this year in the aggregate?
I can get back to you next month and tell you what it will be, give an estimate on what it'll be, because it's going to be hard to tell. One's going to be really low and the other one's going to be higher, and then where does it meet in the middle?
Yeah, I would just ballparking this. I wouldn't expect it to be drastically different than the range we've seen perhaps over the past 5 to 10 years. Obviously, back in April and May, we had cut back service to reflect that the lower demand that we had. But even then, it was, as Mark pointed out, it's directional in some cases. It's people going either on island or off island, depending upon the time of year. So, but I think overall, vehicle space wise, I think we'll probably end up fairly close to what we typically see here at the end of the year.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Mark, can I just quickly follow up on something Rob said, or you said actually, but I think Rob was thinking it, or you caught this. You mentioned we've added certain number of spaces on the Nantucket route. I don't really know where we've added anything since the winter triple crew gay head change, which I believe was 2017 or 18. I just can't remember what year.
Yeah,
so where did we add something?
2018, you had a double crew in January through March on the freight, and then we went to a triple crew. Then in the shoulder seasons, you had the Eagle running with a gay head, and then a single crew on the Sankaty. Then we added 2 single crews, and sometimes we just added that third trip in versus the opposite.
So that's how you calculate. It's just okay. So you calculated a boat that's available but may not run versus like a full-blown printed schedule. Adding XYZ trips are running no matter what. You know what I mean? Like that's hard to decipher for people that aren't fully understanding that. Like for example, in the winter, we don't run the morning boat on Sunday. We don't run the 11, but you can. But nobody's on them, so they don't run it. But then occasionally they run the 4:15, and then on Saturday they don't run the late one. See what I mean? So it's not like the summer schedule when every boat is running no matter what's going on. So that's a tough thing to do with your graphing stuff that you're really good at. You know what I mean?
Yep. And then on the Vineyard Run app, for example, the year that the Island Home goes into dry dock for roughly 30 days, they're losing 140 spaces a day. Difference between the Island Home and the Nantucket, which is roughly 5,000 spaces that month. So you'll see some fluctuations in the occupancy just based on the mix of vessels you have in the dry dock schedule, in addition to the cost allocation.
And if I may, Mark, it kind of illustrates that, for instance, on the Vineyard route, the total number of trips only differed by 27 trips. So this analysis was based on actual trips operated, not necessarily the approved schedule. So it's trips operated. So it takes into account weather cancellations and, where we canceled trips or consolidate trips. So it ends up being the mix of vessels so for instance, it was only 27 trip difference on the Vineyard route, but we ended up with additional capacity of about 15,000 because we had it could be the Woods Hole running, a week or 2 more than the Tamer, for instance. On the Nantucket route, it was only 162 trip difference. And again, it's based on, weather factors into that one way or the other, and whether we're able to consolidate trips or we don't run the first trip on a Sunday, that type of thing, so.
Yeah.
And you're only
Yeah,
doing three, Nat, you're doing
So,
3 round trips a day versus the vineyard's doing 7. So then it multiplies even more by the.
Right, when you change the boat. No, I get that. I appreciate what you're doing. I think, you know, in some cases, we gotta hit the TMI button and figure out what we're really saying sometimes. That's all I'm saying. Because it's almost too good of information, really. You know what I mean? Like, if I told the Nantucket that we had 1,700 more car spaces this year, they'd think I was an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, they'd say, well, how come I can't get a reservation then? You know what I'm saying? So we got to be careful with all that stuff. So thank you all for everything you're doing. I'm just giving you my, you know, simplistic viewpoint of this. So thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments on the cost of service? All right, we're approaching an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So if we can, if possible, speed things up on the operating budget discussion and rate adjustments.
We'll be quick. With this and this, the cost of services segueing into that, we're going to be coming back to the Port Council and the board in October and then November with the budget. We want to look at more of the travel patterns and statistics and developments with COVID and how it's going to impact our budget. If you asked us to put a budget together 2 months ago, it'd be dramatically different than what it is today. So looking at the ridership, looking at the cost of service, how the passenger fares impact the automobile fares. We want to have at least another month of data coming in to get more accurate projections.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't know if any comments from the rest of the board.
No, that's good. Thank you. Good.
Agree.
I agree.
Yep.
All right, next.
So that takes care of the budget and what rate adjustments we'll be needing to do for 2021. So next one we have is Veterans Day recognition. And I think Kimberly is on here. Can you quickly go through that as well, or Sean? Or?
I can do it.
Okay.
So just briefly, we're asking for approval of a proposed program to honor all veterans, retired veterans with free travel on Veterans Day. In 2019, in response to requests from several board members, we conducted research. More accurately, Kimberly thankfully conducted all the research on what other ferryland operators offer. Majority of them don't advertise a discount fare. But of the 50 or so ferry lines that do operate in the United States, 5 of them offer some sort of discount or honor of veterans on Veterans Day. So and in October, the board approved that we would, that all military men and women who have a valid military ID showing their active duty or retired status can travel as a passenger for free on Veterans Day, November 11th. The offer is valid only for active military personnel or the veteran who is traveling either alone or with passengers, does not include the passage of a vehicle. We also allowed military personnel who are medically disabled to automatically qualify for the individuals with disability fare year-round. At the October 19th board meeting, we reported the results of that promotion as follows. On the Vineyard route, 86 tickets were issued. On the Nantucket route, 45 tickets were issued. We believe that to be a result of it being the first year, and also we had a relatively short period of time in which to advertise it, given the time between the board meeting and Veterans Day. So we are proposing that we repeat this again this year for travel on Veterans Day, which is Wednesday, November 11th, 2020. We're asking for this now in September, so we have more time to promote the event multiple ways through the month of October and into early November. And then following the results of this year's promotion, we will bring it back to the Port Council and board to discuss the merits of authorization to make it an annual program. So with that, we would ask Port Council to vote to recommend to the board that they approve this request.
Sean, is this a round trip ticket that they get?
They could travel round trip 6 times that day, George, if they wanted to. They just basically walk on the boat for free that day. And if they want to go back and forth all day just for fun on Veterans Day, they could do that.
Well, what if they walk on, what if they walk on that day and they're coming back the next day?
No, then they get the free travel on the day of Veterans Day. They don't get, right, Kimberly, or am I wrong?
Yeah, no, you're right. But we do have the special tickets that we printed last year, and we didn't put any kind of date on them so that you can just one-way ticket, and you can get them at any of the terminals. So coming and going on just that one day.
Yeah, so it'd just be for, if you went over one day and came back the next day, your free travel would only be on the day you traveled, the trip you traveled on Veterans Day.
Okay, well, as an old veteran and hopefully not conflict of interest, I make a motion to recommend.
Second.
All right, roll call vote.
Falco, aye.
Haas, aye.
Lowell, aye.
Munir, aye.
Shufelt, aye.
And Washburn, aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any old or new business, Bob?
I don't have.
Or the council?
I do have one thing I'd just like to mention, if I could.
Sure.
For those of you that may not be aware, after over 45 years of service, Gina Barboza will be retiring at the end of this month.
Oh,
And,
wow.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
So we'll want to wish her well, and I just want to make sure everyone was aware of that. So.
Oh, wow. Wow.
We'll give her our best.
Yep.
Gina is a fixture with the Steamship Authority, and we've
Oh,
always
yeah,
appreciated
she's great.
working with her.
Give her a big plaque and a prize or something.
Yeah.
Bob, do you have someone that's filling her space, or are you, or is that going to be a plan in the future to fill the position?
Yeah, hopefully later on today we'll have everything in place. The interviews have already been conducted, and it's now just a matter of sitting down and talking with the candidate.
Okay, sounds good.
Is the candidate coming from inside, or is it both inside and external?
Yeah, so we're pleased that we were able to get a number of internal candidates that all of them are well qualified for the position. So it's been actually because of the qualifications of the individuals, it's made the decision a little tougher. But Allison has been working with Janice, who I see are both on as participants here, and they've been going through the process. And I believe, as I said later on today, hopefully we have the announcement.
Good.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, make a motion to adjourn.
We have. Do you want to entertain any public comment?
Oh,
looks like
not
we
used to
have.
that.
Looks like we have someone.
Mr. Malkin has been asked to come over.
Sure.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you, guys. Hi, guys. Appreciate your time. Just quickly, like Robert and George and Nat, I field lots of questions on a daily basis, weekly basis as well, electronically and over the phone, from people who are dealing or questioning based on the information they hear about the Steamship Authority. And I applaud the electronic newsletter, but I would encourage Sean and the group to make sure that it is as timely as possible, not simply monthly, because our traveling public gets their information primarily from either the newspapers, who are online every day, and/or anti-social media. And so to the extent that we can direct the conversation with facts and keep it clean and clear, I think the electronic newspapers, if timely, can be a very valuable tool for the authorities. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, agreed. Any other public comment? I think you can press *9 or raise your hand.
I don't see any.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
I'll
move.
move. Second.
All right, roll call vote.
Falco, aye.
Plus I.
Lowell, aye.
Panir, aye.
Shupel tie.
Washburn, aye. All right, thanks, everybody. Have a good
Thank you all.
few weeks.
Nice to see you guys. Take care.
Yep.
Good.
Good September.
Keep safe.